Good evening. Thanks for joining us again this week on the Weekly Word. We're bushwhacking again. It's not the same thing as it was 150 years ago, but if you bushwhack today, that's a term for somebody that likes to get off trail and just bushwhack out through the woods and see what you can find off trail. Now, let me give you a disclaimer before you do that. You better know the lay of the land, know where you're at, because you can get lost when you're out bushwhacking. It's a good idea to have a GPS with you with some maps loaded into it so you can always look at it and see where you are in relation to trails and roads and etc. But when you get out bushwhacking, and I do that when the snakes and bees are in too, it's a lot more fun than it is in the summertime. But when you get out bushwhacking, there's no telling what you're liable to come across in the woods that other people never do see. I've ran across several of these things in my life when I just get out bushwhacking around. Take a look at this, just out here on the side of the branch, way off trail from anywhere else in the forest here, is what's left of an old moonshine still. Last time I saw it was 10 or 15 years ago, and I remember that time I found scratch marks in it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, slash 1, 2, 3, where they're counting jugs as it's running off. It was in better shape back then too. It's just sort of deteriorating more. But this is the example of what happened when we thought we'd just outlaw them from making liquor in this country. It just outlawed them from making legal liquor, and everybody went out in the woods and started making illegal liquor in Prohibition. That really wasn't a good thing, because a lot of people was making bad stuff and using radiators, and people was dying and going blind and everything else. But now I guess we don't have the moonshining problem as much as we used to. We've got TV shows about it, but I don't know of anybody that still does moonshine for real. Those guys on that TV show, they're just steaming off water. They're not really making moonshine. They'd put them in jail. But the thing about alcohol is, even though it's legal, and you may be old enough and you can legally go buy it, I tell you what, that ain't a good thing. It's ruined more lives than anything I know of in this country, and destroyed more families, and just tore up people. Kids have to go without and everything else. It's really a terrible, wicked thing. And the thing is, okay, it may be legal, but stay away from it. My papa, most of his life, run the beer joint on the main street in Inglewood. And he was getting up around 70 years old or so, and he found the Lord. And Papa told the Lord, he said he got saved out in a pine thicket when he was listening to Brother Ted Watson preach on the radio. He pulled his car over and he went out in the pine thicket and got on his knees and said, "Lord," said, "I'll serve you if you'll help me get rid of that beer joint." And he sold that beer joint. It became something else. It wasn't alcohol there anymore. And I remember when he used to testify, he had said, "I was a businessman my whole life, but," he said, "the best business deal I ever made is one day I traded a beer joint for Jesus." Now, that's pretty good. That's profound, ain't it? But he understood what a lot of people don't understand today. City fathers in these towns and everything else said, we can't ask the Lord to bless us and sell alcohol. Or as Papa put it, I can't serve you and serve beer. And the Bible does mention, the Bible talks about there's a purpose for it. It says in Proverbs, says, "Give strong drink to the perishing." I see examples of that on the old black and white westerns a lot. When somebody's bleeding out their last drop of blood, they'll give them a drink of whiskey or something as they go on their way. I always felt like I wouldn't even want to do that, because I wouldn't want to go out and have to face the Lord with liquor on my breath. Anyhow, we're having fun out here bushwhacking. Glad we don't have this problem anymore. I guess it's got worse. They're making meth these days instead of moonshine, ain't it? But best thing is stay away from all of it and serve the Lord. See you next week on the Weekly Word.